Welcome to your Daily 5 for Monday, May 12th, 2025. Over the weekend, I finally got around to watching a movie that I pretty much knew was going to be terrible. That was my expectation going in, just from the reviews I'd read, from some of the snippets I'd seen of it, and just the general kind of overall presentation of this thing. It was a movie that I thought, okay, the best I can hope for here is hilarity. It's a movie from 1984 that was apparently shot on film based on the credits, and from what I can find, this was shot on Super 8 film, but it's a film titled Desperate Teenage Lovedolls. Now, that title might make you think it's some kind of boner comedy type of thing or a low-end Cinemax skin flick, but in fact it is not. It is instead a very, very low-quality take on the cliched story of young musicians who get a meteoric rise to fame and are not prepared for what that rise is going to do to them. It's as simple as that. You would almost think it's a morality movie, except I don't think that's its intent at all. I think this was a movie made by people for fun, knowing that only their friends were ever going to see it or have any respect for it. So, let's just lay this out up front. This is a bad movie. I don't expect that most people would ever actually seek this out or make it more than 5 minutes into it, honestly, because you open up with some of the most low-quality acting, dubbing, and sound production you're going to hear in anything. I mean, this movie is way up there in terms of variance in the way the audio is. Sometimes it is crystal clear. Other times it sounds like somebody is underwater talking through a cup full of porridge at you. So the fact that the movie is so superficially written actually helps it, because you don't need to worry about missing lines. You already know where this movie is going right from the beginning. There may be only a few things that will be surprising, and I doubt they'd be all that surprising. So in almost every respect, this movie is awful. And so, like I said, I would not expect most people to make it more than a few minutes into it. However, there is one thing about it that is, depending on your taste, actually pretty good, and that is the soundtrack, the majority of which is done by a band called Red Cross. That's REDDKROSS. And it is as much a perfect reflection of a 1984 LA punk sound as you could hope to find. And again, depending on what you like in music, that may either appeal to you or it may sound terrible. So if it sounds appealing and you don't feel like struggling through a movie, which admittedly is only 50 minutes long, you could just go find the band's music and listen to the songs. You don't actually have to watch the movie. However, although you will miss out, I will say, on the fact that they're often, because I guess there was some change in licensing and different music that was used. So the lip syncing is often, they're clearly singing some other song to what they're supposed to be singing, and they didn't even bother to cover it up, which makes later in the film, when they actually do lip sync correctly to the song they are actually hearing the playback for, all the more shocking, but the rest of it completely off. So you can go listen to the soundtrack. And again, this is a very much, well, what do you want out of your music type of thing? Because there's nothing particularly interesting about it. It's not what I would say is objectively good music. However, having said that, would anybody realistically say that the Ramones wrote deep, complex, thematically interesting, and uniquely varied compositions? No. Do I love every song and every album the Ramones put out? Yes, and I own them all. So, again, your mileage is going to vary here. But that is the one part of the film that I think some people would be surprised in terms of the quality. And especially, even though the music itself may not be anything all that special for its time, when you put that in contrast to everything else that the film is failing to do with any type of competency, it does elevate the soundtrack. So this is, and it looks, again, like it's shot on video. You would expect this to be a camcorder film, but based on the credits, from what I saw, what they say, this does appear to be Super 8 film. You'd never really know it, I don't think. I mean, unless there's some pristine version of the print somewhere that's never been exposed. I don't know. But this is a niche film for a very particular type of audience. I will never in my life watch it again. However, it is one of those movies that's probably going to stick with me for a while, because I don't often get this level of badly made films with a good soundtrack. You don't just get this combination all that often. So Desperate Teenage Lovedolls, for the right person, probably going to be a good time. For everybody else, don't even bother. Later.